But today, we must face up to the urgent situation in Ukraine. As we speak, Russia continues with its illegal and unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. The consequences of Vladimir Putin's unjustified aggression are horrific. Russian troops are laying siege to once peaceful European cities. Tanks are tearing through towns while missiles hit homes and hospitals. Putin is responsible for civilian casualties and over 500,000 people fleeing, with the numbers still rising fast. The blood is on Putin's hands, not just of innocent Ukrainians, but the men he has sent to die. He is violating international law, including the UN Charter and multiple commitments to peace and security. He's violating human rights on an industrial scale, and the world won't stand for it. The UK stands united in condemning Russia's reprehensible behaviour. There are no shades of grey in this conflict. It is about right and wrong. This is President Putin's war against a sovereign nation. There can be no apologising or excusing it. I urge nations to condemn Russia's appalling actions and to isolate it on the international stage. Russia is now becoming a global pariah. Just last week, we joined over 40 countries at the OSCE in condemning its aggression. The Council of Europe also voted to suspend Russia. And at the UN, we joined over 80 members in backing a resolution condemning Russian aggression. Meanwhile, Russia stood alone in opposing it. This is the cost of isolation, and it's a consequence of Putin's war of choice. We must continue to lead a chorus of condemnation to show Moscow that Putin's ambitions will not succeed. This is a struggle, not just for Ukraine's freedom and self-determination, but for all our freedom and security. That is why the United Kingdom is proud to be at the forefront of support for Ukraine, economically, politically and defensively. And we call on Russia to enable unhindered humanitarian access into Ukraine and safe passage for civilians. Now is the time to come together with a strong response. We've joined forces with the United States, with the G7, with the EU and other partners to take decisive action through sanctions. Together, we are cutting out the vast majority of Russia's banking system from the global financial system. We're using our collective heft, making up over half of the world's economy, to cut funding from Putin's war machine. And we're delivering severe economic costs through these sanctions, as ordinary Russians are finding from queues at their local banks and rising interest rates. These consequences will only increase in breadth and severity as the conflict goes on. We are working to squeeze the Putin regime harder and harder by steadily tightening the vice. Russia continues to show contempt for freedoms people deserve worldwide. It continues to undermine Georgia's territorial integrity in breach of UN resolutions. It remains responsible for widespread violations in Syria. This goes hand in hand with what is happening to Russian people at home. The Putin regime is dogged by allegations of arbitrary detention, police brutality and torture. It continues to suppress freedom across the board, from free speech to freedom of assembly. Political opponents like Alexei Navalny continue to face grave threats. There are reports of people from the LGBT community being arrested, tortured and killed in Chechnya. And the Kremlin continues to clamp down on civil society, shutting two of its oldest NGOs, International Memorial and the Memorial Human Rights Centre. The Putin regime has left Russia's moral authority in tatters. It should be ashamed to sit in this chamber. We know many Russian people feel the same way, which is why thousands of people have been arrested across the country at anti-war protests. But no matter how hard the Putin regime tries, they cannot hide the truth.